So, Monse, tell me about you. I just want to know what you do for a living. You have children or anything that's personal about you that you're willing to share.
Okay, so I do have a kid. He's 3 years old. He's my first baby. And a little bit more about myself, what I do for a living. I am an HRIS director for a charter school.
Okay, so what is it, HIS?
We do information systems for human resources.
Okay.
So we manage everything that's in our employee portal system. And we do applicant tracking and all of that stuff. Yeah, I've been in HR in the education field for as long as I can remember.
A long time.
Yeah, for a while.
You've had certifications and
Yes,
all that kind of thing.
I've had
with
all of that. Yeah, I graduated with my degree in HR.
So I remember meeting you, and I'm going to share that story a little bit as we open up. But you came to the Rose under some very different type of circumstances.
Definitely.
So I want you, and I keep thinking about every step of your story is almost like you were being moved, even from the first. So start at the very beginning and tell us how everything came together.
Yeah, and this is a really sensitive subject for me.
Absolutely.
So if you have to stop, I'm sorry. But I was in high school. I'm the first person to graduate from college and from high school in the United States. So it wasn't until my college counselor was like, hey, you should come to this college fair. And I was like, what is college? What are you talking about? And she was like, you should come. I just want you to learn more about it. She was trying to encourage me to apply to any university. And I was like, okay, it was my senior year. I guess this is what I'm seeing other people do, so I'm going to do it. So I went, and there was a lot of stands, and you were just walking around grabbing some flyers. And when I got home, I was just reviewing them, and one of them was about self-examination. And I was like, wow, I've never thought about this. This was just all new to me. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do it. I'm about to go in the shower. I'm going to do it just to double check that everything is okay. And I was honestly not thinking anything. I thought there's no way that I'm going to find anything. And I did. I don't remember which breast it was because it was a really long journey. From that time, I got them in my left, my right. It was everywhere. But at the beginning, it was just one. And I was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And I'm checking it over and over again. I finally realized okay, no, there is something there. And I called my mom. She was working, and she was trying to keep me calm. She was like, it's okay. When I get home, we will talk about it. And I was like, okay. She worked a lot. My mom worked a lot. So she got home at 11 at night. And I was like, Mom, I'm waiting for you. Can you please take a look at this? And she was like, there's definitely something there. She was like, and I need to figure out where we're going to go. We didn't have health insurance. I didn't have a primary care doctor. It was just we didn't have anything. I had immigrated to the United States when I was 3. And by this time, I was around 18 years old. We would just go to different nonprofit clinics and things like that. So we didn't know where to start. And I think somebody at work told my mom, you should go to the Rose. You should go to the Rose and start there. So she called, and they were like, oh, yeah, you can come in, blah, blah. It might be around $500 depending on what's going on. So my mom was like, okay. And I think she made the appointment based on when she would get paid again. And she was like, in 2 weeks, we're going to go. And I was like, okay. So I would go to school, live my life normally, but it was always in the back of my head.
Oh, yeah. And
then when I finally went to the Rose, everyone was super nice. So I was like, okay, this is a good place, I was really scared. And I don't know why I didn't think about it. I was going to have to get undressed. And I didn't.
Well, you're 18 years old. You wouldn't know any of this stuff.
I wasn't thinking of all of that stuff. So when they put me in the room, they told my mom, I was trying to pay at the beginning. They were like, just wait. We're going to do an examination. We'll talk to you about payment at the end. And I realized it was a male. I don't know if it was the technician, radiologist.
That was our radiologist.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I never got undressed in front of a man. I was like, this is going to be like so like uncomfortable for me, right? But I was like, I have to do it. Like, it's for my own good. And I remember him doing the examination, and he wasn't really saying anything. And then he was like, I need to get somebody else in here. And when that person came, like, he was doing the same examination. It was like an ultrasound. And like his face changed. And that's when I was like, oh, something is wrong. And then he told my mom, like, we need to get a biopsy. We need to get more. Like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. And mom was like, I don't have health insurance. Like, I don't know where to go. Like, can we do that here? And that's when someone from the front talked to my mom.
It's okay. You've got Kleenex right there.
And they told her about going to Harris Health. And my mom was like, okay, like, where do I start? And I remember that lady wrote everything down for my mom. And they gave us a referral. And they told us exactly where to go, how to drive, how to get there. And they told her, we're not going to charge you anything. We just want you to go now and apply for, like, I think it's like the gold card or something. And we want you to make sure that you get this taken care of. And we never came back to the Rose. But that was like, it was like a God kind of like putting it all in our place. So we went to Harris Health. They did a biopsy. So I was able to get the gold card. They did a biopsy. And then eventually I met Dr. Bonefas. And oh my God, that lady.
She is absolutely one of our heroes.
She's
Believe
amazing.
me, back then there were very few doctors that were willing to work with our patients. She was always one.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember when I met her, like, I was not expecting her to be in my life for as long as she ended up being. At first it was just like, well, we need to take this out. It's not going to stop growing. Thankfully, it's benign, but it's not going to stop growing. So I was like, okay. I was a competitive swimmer for my high school. So all of that kind of
Died.
and everything kind of died. But I was determined, like, I have to do this for myself. I graduated high school, and I did decide to go to college. And it was hard. I was not only the first person in my family to go to college, I was trying to navigate everything. And at the same time, I kept getting more tumors. Like, I think it was like 3 more. And we would have to go through the process, biopsy, lumpectomy, and it was like again and again. And I was just, every time I had to stop my life. And it was until the last one that I was like, Mom, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't finish school. I really can't do nothing. And I remember going with mindset. When you go to Harris Health, you don't really know who you're going to see. And for some reason, I always saw Dr. Bon. Like, it was like God was putting all the right people in front of me to get through this. And that last time, she walked in and she was like, I'm not supposed to see you. She's like, my contract is ending, but I'm going to get it extended. She's like, I recognize your name right away. She's like, I'm getting it extended because we need to end this. Like, she's like, this has to end. And I remember she was like, I don't know how to tell you this. And she was like, I think we have to completely remove your breast. She was like, it's just not stopping. And I remember I was like, I just told my mom. She was like, yeah, I'm sorry. She was like, I just think it's the best way to go. She was like, and I want to do it for you. And, you know, it's just a coincidence that we're both here again. So I was like, yeah, like, if I trust anybody, it's you. And then she started talking about how maybe I would not be able to get reconstruction right away because it was Harry's health. And I honestly wasn't even thinking about that. I was just like, just take them away. Like, I was like, once I graduate high school, once I ever graduate college, I will get a job and then I will figure it out. And she was like, I could tell like in her face, she wasn't okay with that. And she told me, she's like, I don't think that's ethically correct. You're only 21 and I can't do that to you. And she was like, just wait here. She took like 3 hours to come back. And she was like, I got a team of plastic surgeons to be on board with me to do, like, as I'm removing, they're going to be preparing you for reconstruction. She was like, it's going to be a long process. But she's like, you're going to get reconstruction right away. Like, there's not going to be any gaps in between. Wow. And the day finally came, I had to go through a process of, like, had to make sure that everything is fine so that you can go under surgery. And we did the full bilateral nipple-sparing mastectomy. I think it was, like, October. It was, like, I think it was Halloween, actually. Oh, wow. I think because she was wearing her little Halloween cap. Mm-hmm. And she was, like, she was just, like, so sure that this was the right way to go. And that made me feel so at peace that I was doing the correct thing. Mm-hmm. It was a really long process. It is. I got a something where, like, your heart is, like, palpitating too hard. Mm-hmm. So I had to go into intensive care. And then waking up from that, I remember thinking before going into surgery, you can't let this get to you. You're going to look different. Things are going to be different. But you can't let it get to you. You just have to be patient because they had to do the expanders. Mm-hmm. So when you come out of there, you come out looking like a whole different person. And I was like, I can't let this get to me. Like, I can't be vain about it. Like, I just have to be strong. And maybe a little bit immature of me, but I was like, just don't even look at yourself. Just don't even look at yourself.
No, that's a really normal reaction.
Yeah. So I remember we got home. My grandma came from Mexico because my mom had to continue working. So she came from Mexico to take care of me. I would go every Friday to get saline, which is so painful, and I did not think it was going to be that painful. It took about a year to get us
to expand the area,
to get us
tissue
back to normal, and then I had to go through another surgery. And same thing, my heart. I think at this point it was like doing surgeries every year. Like, you need a break.
I'm tired, right?
Yeah. So we were struggling with hypertension.
Hypertension.
I think it's called hypertension. Mm-hmm. And that was it. Like, when it was finally done, I was like, so right after we were done, I was like, okay, this chapter of my life is done. I need to move forward. I remember taking like 6 to 8 classes a semester. Like, I need to get back on track, get back my life, get back just everything that this is taking from me. And then I got married. I graduated college. I then had a baby. I wasn't able to breastfeed. So there's things that sometimes still come back, and I'm like, it still sometimes hurts, Mm-hmm. But I'm really grateful. I'm really blessed to be here. I want to do as much as I can with what happened to me to make people aware.
So do you remember what kind of tumor you had?
I had a phyllodes tumor.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are very tricky. And Dr. Bonefas is absolutely right. They're not going to go away. And so many times, all of a sudden, you have a cancerous thing going on there. and it's almost always younger women.
Yeah.
But it's a horrible, you know, I can see and understand the doctor's concern because it was going to be something you had to live with for a long, long time unless you made that decision. And, you know, like you said, tough decision, probably one of the hardest you ever had to make, especially at that age. But it was the right one. There was just nothing else to do with that particular kind of tumor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I made the right decision, even though I see the things that now are affecting me because of it. I still feel like I made the right decision because it could be worse. It could be that I got a malignant tumor now having my kid.
Right.
Knowing that now more than ever I need to be here to take care of him.
Yeah.
So it was a journey, but Dr. Bonefas, she's amazing.
She is. After I read your story, when you sent it to me, I reached out to her. I haven't heard back from her yet, and I said, I have another one of your patients that we're talking to, and you know, and thanked her again for all the times that she's been there for us.
I will never forget her. I have so much respect and just love for her. She is an incredible human.
So for our listeners, I want to tell you how I actually met Monsi. I had to do I was asked to be on a panel for a leadership conference for women. And I know that no one believes this, but I am such an introvert and I hate doing those things. I did everything I could to get out of being on that panel, but Gallagher's been so very good to us. So I said, yes, I'd be there. We've gone through our whole talk and shared with the audience different things we've learned as leaders, and then it comes to the Q&A. And so, you know, they say, do you have anything that you'd like to ask any one of these three speakers? And someone stood up, and I think you were like the second one to stand up. And your question was, I want to know how to help the rose. And I was all ready to go into my spiel. You know, well, you can come have your mammogram, or you can donate, or you can volunteer. And I never got to that because you said, because I was 18 years old and the rose helped me. And the whole room went quiet. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh. And I thought, what are the chances? You know, it was another God thing, truly. I mean.
It really was.
And when you stood up, and I kept thinking, I'm going to have to meet her. And, you know, we have a lot of patients I don't know and didn't get the chance to meet. But, oh my gosh, your testimony there was incredible. And I knew you had not talked about it before, but how brave of you to stand up in front of 500 of your colleagues and say, this happened to me.
Yeah, I remember vividly when they were, like, they asked the people that were going to share their stories, they asked you guys to go on stage. I did not know who you were. It wasn't until they said, this is Dorothy from The Rose, and I was like, I turned to my colleague and I was like, The Rose was my first, it was my first place where I found help. And she was like, what? I was like, yes. I was like, never in my life did I imagine this was going to happen. I remember feeling very emotional. And I was like, because I'm in a different, I'm 30 years old now. I've been through everything already. And it was like closing it for me. It was closing that chapter because I was like, now I'm meeting the person that helped build what helped me get to where I'm at now. Because if I didn't go through all that, I might not be here, right? So it was, and I'm not the one to go and stand up in front of the crowd and I was like, I have to know how we can help. She is my direct colleague. She's amazing. She is the director of comp and benefits. So I do the HRIS stuff. She does comp and benefits. And I was like, we have to see how we can help, right? Mm-hmm. Not just the organization, but our own employees, right, and getting them good service. And if that service is going to help others, because I remember you mentioned saying for every one person that goes with insurance, you're able to provide.
Actually, it's every three.
Every three
We're able to provide screening. Now, a lot of our women who are uninsured come to us like you, who already have a problem going on. So that's where we raise money, because when you're doing diagnostics, you have ultrasounds or you may have a mammogram, but the doctor's meeting with you, so that's a little more expensive when we're doing those workups, but every bit helps. And, I just think from that time you picked up that piece of paper in the college fair,
I know, to
your mother's coworker telling her to call the Rose, to coming to us, and, your type of tumor is very unusual. And I think how wise our doctor was not to do anything but get you into the system. He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew. But my goodness, every place.
I'm a faithful woman, and I really do believe God has put me in every place for a reason. So when they gave that opportunity, I was like, I have to meet her. I have to just thank her, because it changed my life. I honestly don't know where we would have gone.
That's why the Rose is here. You are the perfect example of people who are hardworking, and look at you now. I mean, I'm so proud to even know you, to think of that. Wow, you went on, finished college, and, the work you're doing within the schools that's amazing. And you're there to be that mentor to our younger generation. That's just a magical story when you get down to it.
I think so. And I want to reach our students. I want to reach other people that are young, because when you're young, I think I had to grow up at a very young age. So I've always been really mature. After my dad passed away, it was just like, you have no other choice, right? But I know that when you're young, you're like, that's never going to happen to me. Like, that's never going to be me. You're so worried about other things. And I'm like, no, you have to.
It is a huge, yes, that is a huge message. And I know, there's a reluctance for us to go into schools even and talk about breast exams, but that's the only way a young woman is going to find it. Yes. I mean, you don't just do screening mammograms on younger women. So that's such an important message. And, you knew, even though that wasn't a practice probably that you often did, but you knew there was something different. We always know our bodies. We always could say, uh-oh, that doesn't feel right. And you, thank goodness for your mom.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It sounds like she is one strong woman.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. I remember every single time we would go to our appointments, because I had probably more than 100, they always thought it was for her.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course.
They were like, oh, you can come in. She's like, no, it's for her. And I remember, their demeanor would just go it would be like, they would hold their breath, be like, oh, okay. And I would be sitting next to a lot older women.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're like, why are you here? And people are always intrigued. And my mom was like, don't let them ask you. Don't let them, if you don't feel comfortable, don't tell them. Right. But people were like, what is going on? Why is she sitting right next to me? And we're here at the same place for similar reasons, Right. Getting my first mammogram. I think, I don't know if things are still the same, but they don't do it at a certain age. If you're too young.
They don't.
And I remember they were like, why are you getting this? And it was like, because I have to, because I have to. So it was new to me that, like, young people, because if it happened to me, it could happen to anybody else.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So I was like, why are they not here? Like, why there's no representation, right? There's nothing. Are they just catching it when they're a lot older and it's too late? So I have so many questions about like my experience and how we can make it better. Definitely.
Well, just from what the Rose sees, we see a younger population every year being diagnosed. We have had many 20-year-olds, many 22-year-olds. Almost every year we have someone in their early 20s. You were our youngest. So, and we knew, you were really our youngest. So it's just again about breast cancer doesn't care how old you are, what you're doing in life. It is going to be.
Or if you have any history. My family doesn't have history of anything.
And that is another important fact about breast cancer, is because 95% of all the women who are diagnosed do not have family history.
Correct.
And that's the first thing people say, well, there's no history. And I go, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
One of the things that Rose would love to see changed is that age guideline. Right now it is age 40, and they're even pushing for every other year. And when I say they, these are the people that make the recommendations. And once they make them, then Medicare, Medicaid, commercial insurance has to go by it. And you don't have a lot of flexibility there. The Rose has always said we should start our screening mammograms at age 35. Always, if you've had breast cancer in your family 10 years earlier than your mom or grandmom was diagnosed, always, if you have a lump, if you have a change in your breast. And that's where we shouldn't have to fight any kind of system to get that young woman in. It just annoys me beyond anything that we still have to ask permission to do a mammogram on someone who's already found something. That makes no sense. And because you were uninsured, we didn't have to. We could just do you. And that's one of those little flukes. We didn't have to wait for insurance to tell us it's okay. We just had to raise the money to do it.
Yeah.
So, you have so many stories in there about taking care of yourself, making tough decisions. And again, I'm just so impressed that you could tell yourself in recovery, I can't let this get to me.
I didn't look at myself once, Dorothy. And like I said, I don't know if this is immature of me, but at first they have to help you shower because it takes over everything you've ever known, your muscles, your arm strength, everything. And my grandma, she has no filter. She has no filter at all. And the first time she saw me when she was helping me shower, she was like, "Oh, you look like a boy." And I was like closing my eyes. I was like, thanks for telling me I'm not going to open my eyes again until I know I don't look like a boy anymore. Because I felt like if I saw it, it was really going to get to me more than everything I was already going through. So I showered with my eyes closed until the end. They would do the saline, and I'm like, I just close my eyes. They're like, okay, you can get dressed. I'll get dressed back up. And I'm like, okay, and until my mom was like, you can open your eyes. Like, it looks normal now. And I was like, okay. And I opened my eyes and I was like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I have some scars, but it's not bad. But that's what worked with me. And I was young.
How did you tell your husband?
My husband we were already together.
Already together?
Yeah, we were already together. I have an amazing husband. We weren't married at the time, but he was there on my surgery day. We were already living together. We had bought a townhome, and we were fixing it up. We've been hustling since we've been together. He's just amazing. And he was there the day of the surgery. I could tell it was really hard for him. Especially when things kind of turned with my heart. I could see like the fear in his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
But oh man, he went through it all with me. He like helped me so much with recovery, reassuring me, that I was still beautiful, that I was okay, and that my scars they're a reminder of how strong I was.
Oh.
My husband is amazing.
That's such a wise thing
Yeah.
to say. And
My
it's so
husband
true.
is amazing.
Yeah.
And when I got home from the conference, I was like, I met Dorothy. He was like, who's Dorothy? I was like, she's like, she helped found the roads. And I was just like, and he was like, oh my God, that's insane. He was like, that's insane. Like, it's been over a decade now. And I don't know, he's been with me through it all. So I can't tell you how grateful I am for him.
Oh, absolutely.
I think with me, we've had a lot more, like, every couple has like challenges. For me, it's been my health. That was like the biggest one. Recently, I diagnosed with RA. So he's been through it all.
Oh, sweetie.
So it's been an incredible journey with him, and I'm so grateful for him and that God put him in my life, because he is amazing. He's amazing.
Well, now tell me what your hope is for your own son. Do you hope to have other children?
I do. I've always dreamed of myself having a little girl. I want a little girl, and I said I was going to name her Elizabeth because of Elizabeth Bonefas. I love the name, but it's just like, it just means a lot to me. My son's name is Ezekiel, so it kind of goes well together as well. I do want a little girl. So we're going to try for one more. Whatever it is, I'll be grateful. But I've always just imagined myself with a little girl.
Well, I think even wanting to name her that is your gift back to the doctor. I mean, my goodness, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She means a lot to me.
Oh, yes. You haven't seen her lately or in the last few years?
I never saw her again.
Interesting.
I never saw her again. It took me a while to even figure out her full name.
Oh.
Even past like the last surgery. I know she was Dr. Bonefas. So, and then like I told you, once I got out of that surgery room, once I fully recovered, I was high speed.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, nothing's bringing me down. Like, I am just straight to what I want to accomplish, what I want to do with myself, with my life, the success that I want to have. And I was busy. I had no time for anything. I was just like taking classes. By the time I knew it, I had graduated. I got married in between that whole craziness. And then I was pregnant, and I was already working in the education system. I was the vice president for one of the organizations at U of H. And I got job offers, and I was like, no, I want to stay in the education field. It feels like I can do something, right? Like that means more.
Right.
And that's where I've been at different school districts, ISD. This is my first charter. But it's been an incredible journey.
Well, and that's the other thing that you're telling all young people. Don't let things stop you. Keep shooting for that goal. You're going to make it. And even with the health problems you've had, that's a pretty big statement. You've got to keep going.
You have to. You have to. Just this year, like I said, I was diagnosed with RA. It was hard. It was hard because I don't know anyone with RA. And I was feeling all these pains that I've never felt before. I was unable to move for some time. And I had my role, and I have a team of people that,
report to
me and that need my support, and I need theirs. And I was like, at a point, I was like, maybe I'm not going to be able to work again. Maybe this is going to, like, be the end of me, right? And I felt that way at a point because I couldn't move my hands at all.
Yeah, it's
And
very scary.
it's extremely scary. And I remember saying, no, like, we have to figure out. And this time, Dorothy, I think it was because I had a kid now. Mm-hmm. It was so hard for me to get the help. Like, I wasn't so like, let's just go do it. Because I was like, oh my God, if something's wrong, who's going to, like, if something does happen to me, what's going to happen to my son? So at first I was like, we have to, I was like, it's just temporary. I was blaming everything and anything in the world. I was like, it's what I'm eating, it's the cheese, it's this and that. And it wasn't until I was like, no, Montserrat, like, I think it took me 2 months. And it was like when I couldn't move and I was like, something is wrong. And now I had health insurance. Now I had all the resources in the world, but I was so scared. And my PCP was like, it's most likely this, get the blood work. It was that. I found a great rheumatologist, but it didn't stop me, you know.
Hey, I have no doubt that you're going to beat that too, and that
it did not stop me. And I'm feeling better than ever.
Oh, good.
I've been in treatment for like 4 months, so I'm feeling better than ever. And I'm like, okay, what's next? Like,
I tell you what, all I see for you is success, getting better, being healthy.
Definitely.
You're a strong, determined woman. Yes.
I will tell you that. Too determined, sometimes I can be annoying.
No. So this is really the first time you've ever shared your
I've never
toe
shared
story.
my story besides with like
I
the
am
people
so
that know
honored that you shared with us and that you've been so willing to let perfect strangers hear your story because it is so important.
I don't think I would do it for anyone else, Dorothy. I think this organization means a lot.
Oh.
It was the beginning, and they put everything into place for us. Well, God, of course, but the people in your organization, they put all the building blocks for me and my mom to be able to.
That's our job.
Yeah. So.
But it's because we have people like you that we're so grateful. And it's because just like you now, you want to give back.
I do. I met him.
Support us. So this is truly for full circle.
This is, yeah. I think.
You don't know who this podcast is going to impact. We don't know what young woman's going to hear it, or mother of some young woman who knows something's going on.
Yeah.
So I can't thank you enough for coming in and sharing. And
thank you for having me. It really means a lot.
And for being so open and willing.
Definitely.
You're going to do just great in this life, I swear.
Thank you.
I'm so honored to know you.
Likewise. It was a true blessing to have met you that day.
Thank you.
Yeah.